Welcome to the European Parliament, the EU's official first institution, the world's largest transnational democratic electorate and the second largest democratic electorate after India. European Parliament currently has 751 members. They are headed by a president and a whopping 14 vice presidents. Seats are divided among member states proportionately to their population, with a minimum of 6 seats and a current maximum of 96 seats. While the larger countries are big players as a state, counterintuitively, in Parliament a Maltese citizen actually is represented better than a German one, with only 70,000 Maltese citizens sharing a Maltese MEP, compared to more than 800,000 Germans for each of their representatives. Every 5 years, MEPs are elected in their home country and sent to Brussels, where they group themselves into larger parties along ideological lines. MEPs usually vote in line with their party, rather than their nationality, even withstanding the pressure sometimes put on them by their home countries. So far, this seems to be too straightforward for the EU. So to make things unnecessarily complicated, the work of Parliament takes place in 3 different countries. All of the administrative work is done in Luxembourg, while 3 weeks every month the plenary meetings are held in Brussels. The remaining week each month, meetings are held in Strasbourg. And yes, this means all MEPs, their supporting staff and their documents move back and forth each month. They have 2 buildings, etc. As you can imagine, it is not super practical that the administrative work is done in another country, but it does not compare to the impracticality of holding plenary meetings in 2 cities more than 400 kilometers apart. Why is this done? Well, because France. Now that we have quickly established what the EU Parliament is, we can talk about what they actually do. Parliament has 3 main tasks or powers. First, the legislative power. In the standard way new EU law is made, all proposals for new EU legislation must be checked by Parliament. Parliament may then choose to approve, amend or reject the proposal. As such, Parliament can stop every new law from being implemented, except it can't. Parliament, as the EU's only directly elected body, strangely doesn't have a say in legislation on all subjects. This is often pointed out as a democratic deficit in the EU, which in a way it truly is. However, we are not talking about a state government, so comparing it to one is like comparing apples and oranges. The EU is an international or supranational organization in which independent and democratic states are represented. Compared to other international organizations such as the UN or NATO, the EU is very democratic. Besides, when the European Parliament was elected for the first time in 1979, it had no powers to veto legislation whatsoever. Parliament's right to co-decision was introduced in the Maastricht Treaty in 1992. Parliament's powers have been expanding ever since. So while this democratic deficit does still exist, it might no longer in the future. Like new legislation, the EU budget must be approved by Parliament before money can be spent. Additionally, after the money has been spent, Parliament must officially discharge the budget of the previous year to confirm the money was spent for the planned purposes. This gives Parliament a say in the EU finances both before and after money is spent. In line with the idea of separation of powers, Parliament, as the legislative branch, makes sure the Commission, as the executive branch, doesn't get too powerful. If Parliament is very unhappy with the actions of the Commission, it can cast a vote of no confidence, effectively firing the College of Commissioners. Voting is usually done by a simple show of hands, at which point the President determines if there's a majority. If it is too close to call, instead an electronic vote is used. In some cases, Parliament decides by simple majority. This means that a majority of the MEPs present and voting during the plenary must be in favour. MEPs that are not present in the plenary at the time of the vote or who choose not to vote are not counted in the total. In theory, this means that a single MEP could win a simple majority vote, as long as the rest of the MEPs are not present or not voting. For important decisions, an absolute majority is needed, however. This means that for a vote to pass, a majority of Parliament must vote in favour, regardless of who is there and who abstains. In this case, a single MEP can't win the vote. When it comes to a vote of no confidence, Parliament needs a 2/3 majority of the voting members on top of the absolute majority.
The 751 European parliamentarians are elected directly by the European people every 5 years, making it the most democratic part of the EU. Parliament votes on laws and plans proposed by the European Commission, and checks that money is actually being spent in the way that it has approved of. Although the Parliament is not yet involved in every EU decision, it has steadily gained power over the unelected institutions over the years.
Now we have some basic knowledge of the first institution of the European Union. It is, however, only a small part of a much bigger picture. To find out more about the other institutions, the history of the EU and other subjects, please check out our playlists and subscribe to our channel.